Hello again. I'm sure that we are all well aware that there are any number of tricks being played with immigration to Britain, and that one of the most popular involves foreign students who come here with their families and never leave again. This is because, in addition to being granted permission to come and study here, many students are also given permission to bring their wives, children, mothers, fathers, and second cousins twice removed with them as well, under the guise of dependence. A beautiful example of how this particular racket is worked has recently been provided by a case in Nottinghamshire. A Jordanian man called Mohammed Hamdan came here in 2021 as a student. He brought with him his wife, who is Brazilian. I am guessing that she is herself one of these mail order brides and that some kind of fiddle is going on, although I may of course be wrong about that. A year ago, the happy couple had a baby and went to Jordan for a holiday. The baby was travelling on a Brazilian passport. Afterwards, the parents tried to get the kid registered on a visa of her own to live in Britain. This was quite a crafty move, of course, because once the baby had a right to live here and it was established that she had been born in this country, then all sorts of human rights considerations kick in, such as the ever popular right to a family life gag. The chances of ever getting the family out of the country again would be slender indeed. As it is, the Home Office have refused a child residence and announced that any application must be made from Jordan or Brazil. This all sounds perfectly reasonable to me, and I cannot for the life of me see why we should be allowing this couple and their child to live here for the rest of their lives. A Jordanian married to a Brazilian. I'm sure there is a very curious story behind this arrangement, and I rather doubt if it is founded upon romantic love either. All this puts me in mind of the case of Femi Badenoch, who is, at least for the moment, the Secretary of State for Business and Trade. She is a Privy Councillor and Cabinet Minister in the British government, despite not being British and having no connection with this country. No connection with this country, I hear the outraged Liberals cry in dismay. How can I say such a thing? Femi Badenoch is a British citizen. She was born in this country, wasn't she? Surely that makes her as British as any of us. Well, yes, she was born in Britain, but under rather curious circumstances, which leads some of us to suspect a thinly disguised immigration scam of the kind that I've been talking about with the Jordanian and Brazilian. Femi Badenoch's parents are Nigerian and were living in Nigeria when her mother fell pregnant. She then flew to London in 1980, gave birth to Femi Badenoch, and returned at once to Nigeria. Under the law as it was at that time, this automatically meant that Femi Badenoch was a British citizen because she had been born here. She grew up in Nigeria. Parents moved to America for a while and she went to school there, and later they returned to Nigeria. No connection whatsoever with Britain, you see, other than the child actually being born in London. When the political situation in Nigeria became a little uncertain in the mid 1990s, when Femi Badenoch was 16, her mother remembered the fact that through her shrewd move the child was technically British, and so sent her off to live in Britain. This was the first time that Femi Badenoch had anything at all to do with this country. This particular trick of coming here on holiday to give birth used to be enormously popular at one time, until the law was changed. It was the same in Ireland, of course. Pregnant women would deliberately come to Britain and Ireland to have their babies, partly because the free health care here was so much better than it was in Africa and Asia, but chiefly because it meant that the kid would be entitled to a British passport. Of course, this meant in later years that the entire family could come here as well on the strength of this. That particular scam has been abolished now, and the government is tightening up on the students and their dependents route too. But there are still many ways that immigration is affected via family members, and I shall perhaps in the future make a video on some of these new swindles. In the description to this video, I give a link to the news item about the tragic case of the Jordanian and Brazilian love match.